25. Designed to help you navigate life with faith, gratitude, and intentionality, this planner will inspire, uplift, and guide you towards a peaceful and purpose-filled year. Get daily inspirational quotes and a peaceful word of the day, plus weekly challenges and monthly reflections. A vision board to map out your dreams. Embrace peace and purpose every day with the Peaceful Living Executive Planner and Daily Agenda. Get yours now at FroyersMin.com.
WPLQ Port St. Joe, WGSX New Haven. Powered by Panama City Toyota.
ESPN Northwest Florida.
Lights, camera, action.
It's the Coach James Hale Show.
Do you know who I am?
Live and local inside the J. Michael studio.
People know me.
ESPN Northwest Florida.
Good morning, everybody. This is Patrick Moore with Turpo Pest Control. I got Jason Kovaleski here in the show with me this morning from Max Fit Sports Nutrition, and one of Coach Hill's old-time buddies right here beside me,
Jim Bob Brandt.
Jim Bob.
Or Jim Bob, a.k.a. Jim Bob. I've been over Jim Bob since 1990, so.
The success behind the man.
Yeah.
Well, let's just get into...
Before you get started, on behalf of all of us here at the ESPN studios, I would like to thank you for coming in here the other day on call and killing these ants that were everywhere. I mean, I literally
I didn't think that was the direction we were going right there. I ain't gonna lie.
coming
is that why Coach Hale's not here?
I was going to thank him for coming in and sitting in for Coach Hale, but I literally had ants crawling out of my control panel here. And
Now, you guys probably don't have kids that are young enough to remember this show, but when my boys who are in their 40s, well, almost 40, in their 40s, there used to be a show they used to watch called Where in the World is Carmen Sandiego? This is like, where in the world is James Hale? Does anybody know where he is?
Well, now, at last I saw was getting a photograph of him standing next to Elvis. So I don't know if that means he's in heaven or if he's in Memphis.
Did he take the Elvis wig off yet, or is he still trying to think he's Elvis?
No, he's still walking around doing the impression.
The jet black hair.
Just as long as he doesn't start dancing.
And as long as Julie's not bowling.
Yeah. Is there bowling involved in this one? Oh, my gosh.
He's a mess. Anyway, but thank you for that, Patrick, coming in here and doing that.
Hey.
It was noticeable and instantaneous, and we appreciate it. Our little traps were not working. It's so dry, right?
Right. It was interesting because I came in when there was a show going on.
Oh, wow.
So having to work around everybody.
Oh, yeah.
And then one of the products we put there in the control room over there where you're at, I had to tell the guy, I was like, look, might get a little dusty with some of the stuff I'm fixing to do, but...
No, used to it.
Hang in there.
You won't have no ants in a day or two.
If what's ever in that mason jar didn't kill him yet, that won't either. Trust me.
Hey, you notice they didn't get around that at all.
The story I've heard, it's they're brought in by donuts.
Oh, I wouldn't.
No. There's no truth to that rumor whatsoever. So just strike that. And thanks for coming in, for sitting in for Coach Hale.
Hey, no problem.
What's going on?
We'll try and get this going. One of the things I was going to talk about was, hot topic is going to be for today, the NFL draft last night.
Oh, yeah.
Of course, there was the big surprise where Shedeur Sanders doesn't get drafted in the first round. But, and Jason, you watch a lot of football, and were you surprised at the way the drafts went last night, being so heavily linemen versus skilled positions?
I am a little surprised only one or two quarterbacks were taken. I mean, usually you overdraft a quarterback. Teams are trying to find that next guy. I was a little bit surprised Shedeur didn't get selected with as much hype as coming into the draft. I mean, usually, especially a team like Pittsburgh late in the first round, I thought would maybe pick him up and stash him and see what they could do with him. But a lot of rumors he didn't interview very well. Maybe people didn't want to deal with that a little bit. There's always outside influences that the NFL just refuses to deal with. So I have no doubt he's going to get picked in the second or third round. But I was a little bit surprised how offensive line, defensive line heavy it is. But defensive line is such a premium spot now. I mean, you had Mason Graham going to Cleveland. I thought that was a great pick for them. I mean, as much as I dislike Michigan, they have some tremendous defensive tackles this last year. Offensive lineman going late. Ohio State had 2 guys go late first round, which was great for them. Good recruiting tool for them, especially the way they developed that offensive line last year with Donovan Jackson at the slide, the left tackle. But I thought it was a solid draft. Nothing super surprising. We've heard rumors about, Will Johnson, the corner from Michigan, falling out of the first round. He did. That was really surprising to me. That was the most surprising out of everybody, even outside of Shador. There must be some knee injuries there that we don't know about. But overall, I think it pretty much went chalk. I mean, Cam at number 1. You had Hunter at number 2, and then to me the best player in the draft was Carter from Penn State, the defense end, going number 3. But based on need, it pretty much went chalk for me.
Yeah, I was surprised. I watched most of it, and at the end, they gave a stat that was pretty telling. If and Coach Hale's always talking about the powers of college football,
the Big Two,
SEC, Big Ten, everything. But the Big Ten last night had 11 draft picks in the first round, and that just shows you where their strength's been the last several years.
Well, they've been playing catch up to the SEC. Let's be honest. I mean, SEC dominated for 20 years, especially in the first round. I mean, and you see now this money with the TV deals from Fox and NBC starting to come into the recruiting, the coaching. I mean, now, 15 to 11, that's closing the gap for them, and they got some high-end talent. I mean, those kids at the top of the draft, Carter, Mason Graham, those guys are elite players, and even some of the Ohio State guys that went late. Emeka Egbuka was one of the best receivers in Ohio State history. I mean,
leading receiver in Ohio State history as far as number of catches.
Tyler Warren, the tight end from Penn State's an elite talent. I mean, Colston Loveland from Michigan's an elite talent. So you can see the talent starting to kind of separate into 2 conferences. ACC had, and you're probably going to get into this a little bit, only 2 first-round picks. Big 12 had 2 first-round picks versus 26 for Big 10 ACC. So you're seeing where this goes. We've talked about it every day. I know people get tired of hearing about it, but the Big 10 SEC are the 2 power conferences, and they're probably going to rule college football. Yeah. So if I'm Florida State or Clemson or whoever's outside that conference, I'm positioning myself to get in one of them as soon as possible.
Yeah, the thing that I found that was interesting looking at the picks, well, use Ohio State because we're both Buckeyes and we like to talk about them. But just use their 4 picks. All 4 guys that got drafted yesterday, all could have come out last year, and none of them would have been first-round picks. So, you talk about, why did they do that? They did it because, to win a championship, but also to improve their own draft stock, and all 4 of them did. It's like, who would have picked or Josh Simmons number 1 last year, a number 1 pick? Their left tackle, nobody.
Yeah.
Who would have picked Donnie Jackson? Nobody. Tyleik Williams, nobody. Egbuka, maybe.
Yeah.
But they're all first round picks now. And then the other side of that, just in the top 2, you got Cam Ward, was at 3 different schools. Started at Incarnate Word, went to Washington State, and now ends up being the number 1 pick. And Travis Hunter should have gone to Florida State. He was committed to Florida State originally out of high school.
That one's got to hurt them.
Dropped them, went to Jackson State, and then ended up at Colorado. So there's kind of both sides of this NIL transfer thing that were kind of at play yesterday.
I think one of the positives at NIL is allowing these kids to stay in college another year because they're getting money. They're not just broke. They're not making 0 money. They're making 6, 7 figures, so they're able to develop a little bit more. And I think that's going to help the NFL in the long run. You're getting guys that are going to stay a little longer, maybe get developed a little bit better instead of going into the league just trying to cash in that paycheck, and they may flame out in 3 years. They're able to get some money in college, so they're able to stay 4 years and not feel like they're getting robbed. So I think that's a good thing. I thought that was a positive of last night, seeing a lot of upperclassmen come in. The 3-year guys may be gone now that you can make $1 billion in college now. I mean, outside the Jeremiah Smiths, the Caleb Downs, and guys like that. So,
yeah, and as we talk about NIL, I've had discussions with a bunch of friends and different stuff, and it's a hot topic. It's been one. How do you change NIL? How do you do different stuff like this? But I think everybody tends to put their fan glasses on when they start talking NIL. They want it to be like it was before. Then the other discussion is, hey, let's make it like the NFL. But there's 2 different things here. The NFL, when you sign up for the draft, you're signing your rights over.
Right.
For everything. They actually own your rights. And that's a big deal with the NFL that a lot of fans really don't understand that. Well, take example yesterday when the Giants select Cam Ward. they own his rights for the next year. Whether he plays for them or not, he can't just go play for somebody else.
No, he can't up and leave like in the transfer portal.
Right. And then once he signs his contract, if it's a 4-year contract, they own his rights for 4 years. Then they can trade that. So as we relate that back to college football, I don't really see a way currently where you're going to sign your rights away to play somewhere, even if you sign a employment contract. In an employment contract, you can quit.
Right.
It's not. It's not your rights.
I do think they can put something in these. I don't think NIL is going to deal with that. I think it's going to come straight from the college. Once they're able to pay players, they're going to have them under contract. I think these scholarships are going to, be 2-3 years. I mean, that to me is the worst part of the transfer portal NIL discussions is a kid can just up and leave and go somewhere else. I mean, when you have no rights or control over them, when I could say, I just don't like this place, I'm just going to go somewhere else. I think that's a huge problem because there's a lot of tampering that goes on with that. I mean, right now, look at Tennessee. They need a quarterback. Well, if I'm at, maybe a lower, maybe Oregon State or somebody, or even Illinois, I know some guys that talk about Altmaier. If I'm hearing that, my agents are getting called from, Tennessee, big-time program that made the college football playoff like that, I may just jump in the portal and see if I can't get a couple million from them, being that they might be a little desperate right now. So I do think that's a bad aspect of NIL and being able to just transfer without contracts and not having any obligation to the team. I know people want to bring up coaching and stuff like that, but those coaches have to pay 60, 70 million buyouts to leave. That's why we have Mike Norvell at Florida State this year. Normally a 2-10 season, you'd be gone, but with a $70 million buyout, he ain't going nowhere.
Well, that's why it took him so long to get rid of Jimbo Fisher at A&M.
And you may not be going anywhere next year either, so,
no.
Buckle up.
I'm looking at it going, the biggest problem was when the NCAA allowed them to transfer more than once.
Right. With no penalty.
Correct. If they came back now and said, hey, you can only transfer once every 2 years, that'll change the whole aspect of college football.
Or you sit out a year just like the original rule. I mean, if you want to transfer, you can do whatever you want, but you're going to sit out a year after that first transfer. I never saw the problem with that. We didn't have kids jumping everywhere because they didn't want to lose that time to get to the NFL. That's an important year for them. Most guys in their third year, that's their money year.
Yep.
That's when you either put up or shut up. I mean, it may be your junior year, but that's when you kind of set the basis of whether, hey, am I going to make the NFL or not? And usually kids right now, they don't really see that, and it's kind of getting to the point where every kid's jumping in the portal just because it's lucrative. I mean, if I'm a big-time player, I'm going to jump in just to see what I can get from this team over here, and now I'm starting a bidding war, Even if I want to stay at maybe Ohio State, if that's where I'm at, Cardell Tate kind of threatened to get into the portal because there were so many wide receivers that were needed last year, so he ended up coming back. But, I mean, at the end of the day, most guys are just jumping in to see how much money they can make, so there's got to be some. No, I can't blame them. I mean,
if you look at the true numbers.
This is generational type money,
Well, the true numbers. The NFL draft, it'll finish this weekend. You'll have 224 people drafted. 7 rounds. There's 77,000 college football athletes out there this year.
7,000 in the portal.
Well, yeah, and I saw a number about a week ago. There was over 10.
Yeah.
You can't blame them for taking money.
No, absolutely not. I mean, and you're talking about kids that didn't have a lot anyway, but when you're talking generational type money that is life-changing for families, you can't blame these kids. It's the system in place that we have to blame, and there's just no leadership with the NCAA, and nobody really wants to take anything over. I can't really blame the NCAA because every court case they've entered, they've lost. I mean, it's like fighting with a water gun, so I think we do need to get some structure. I think this next ruling, I know they delayed it because of roster limits, I believe was the reasoning that they delayed it. Once they decide that, I think when the colleges are able to pay players, they're going to be able to implement some contracts. I think we're going to see a different ballgame altogether.
Jason, since you're here, go ahead and tell us a little bit about MaxFit Sport Nutrition and what we're doing.
So we got the sample bar. We got all different types of products. We got proteins, pre-workouts. If you're if you take a pre-workout, come down to and try our free sample bar. We can give you a sample, take it to the gym, work out on it. But we got vitamins, test boosters. We got a little bit of everything for anybody in any age. We got a lot of high school kids coming in using our InBody 570. So that's a really good tool to track your results, track skeletal muscle, percent body fat. fat. That's how we actually adjust our meal plans too. So we've had a lot of people on meal plans right now that are having a lot of success. But we're located on 23rd Street in the Del Coronado Village next to Black Sheep Armory, and in Pier Park North next to Dick's Sporting Goods. So come give us a shot and check us out.
Awesome. Hey, if you're out there hungry this evening, go look at Beef O'Brady's over in Lynn Haven. Pat Perno does a great job there. They have a special. It's either Friday or Saturday night. That is a burger and 3 wings with fries for like $10.99. It's either $10 or $11.99. It's a great deal.
$5.99. I'm kidding, Pat.
It's a great deal. I took my family there about 2 weeks ago. We had that.
Yeah.
All the kids loved it. Great time, great atmosphere.
All my favorites right there on one plate.
Hey, you can't beat it.
And Patrick, since you're here, tell them what I'm sure that we're not the only ones here that are having problems with ants, and I'm sure there's a reason why.
No, ants are starting to come out. It's that time of year where they're going to come. With the dryness, they're looking for water is one of the main things. So they're going to start going into your houses and everything. One of the big things with doing pest control around your house is to prevent them from getting in.
Right.
That's what most people really don't pay attention to. They call when they have a problem with the bugs are inside the house. You need to stop them before they get in. And it's not just that. You got termites, you got wood-destroying ants, there's roaches.
What about sugar ants? Those things bite you at all?
They won't bite you, but so ants will carry bacteria, viruses, germs, and all that. So if you're not getting treated, call somebody to get treated because that is stuff that can be coming in your house that you're not really aware of.
Okay. All right, we're going to talk to Coach Patton.
Big win last night.
The big win last night, 4-3 over Bowles.
Down 3-2 the 7th.
We'll take phone calls at 215-6290 a little bit later on.
Yeah, if you know where Incarnate World is, call us.
ESPN Northwest Florida, the Paul Feinbaum Show.
Expired is up next.
Tennessee fans, what is wrong with you? You are wishing this guy well. Oh, he's just a kid. He took you to the altar, got you knocked up, and left you at the freaking altar with twins.
Paul Feinbaum, weeknights, 6 to 10 on ESPN Northwest Florida.
Good morning. This is Joanna with your weather forecast from ESPN Northwest Florida on this Friday. Mostly sunny this afternoon and evening with a wind around 10 miles per hour out of the south and the high of 80. Tonight, look for a mixture of slight fog and partly cloudy skies with a temperature near 69. Tomorrow, high around 81 and slight fog in the morning, but otherwise mostly sunshine. This weather forecast is brought to you by Earthworks of Northwest Florida. Thank you for tuning into ESPN Northwest Florida. Rely on it.
Known for its crispy chicken tenders, flavorful wings, and generous portions, Lickin' Chicken has become a local favorite. Lickin' Chicken's commitment to quality and bold flavors keeps customers coming back for more. One satisfied patron shared on Facebook.
First time at Lickin' Chicken, and I'll return often. Man, them lemon pepper and garlic parm wings were amazing. My daughter and I devoured them. They don't short you on the fries either.
Lickin' Chicken, 1320 North Tyndall Parkway.
Krispy Kreme Donuts has a new Craving Cheesecake collection featuring 3 limited-time donut flavors. There's Strawberry Dream Cheesecake, Cookies and Cream Cheesecake, and Caramel Delight Cheesecake Donuts. All available at Krispy Kreme Donuts in front of HCA Hospital on 23rd Street, Panama City, and on the Ross Clark Circle in Dothan. Krispy Kreme Donuts since 1937. Krispy Kreme Donuts, where you get them hot.
It's the Coach James Hale Show.
Bonafide and qualified.
Live and local from the J. Michael Studio.
Certified.
From the Sports Talk Monster. ESPN Northwest Florida.
Welcome back. We have a legendary baseball coach on the phone coming on. Coach Jeff Patton from Bozeman. Can you hear us, Jeff?
I can hear you. Good morning.
Man. Congratulations, man.
Congratulations.
Congratulations.
Big win.
Yeah, that was pretty good. That was probably one of the best baseball games I've ever coached in, honestly.
I've seen that 3-2 going into the 7th. Like, oh, man, come on. I will have a little prayer for you. And then I seen 3-3, and I was like, okay, because the updates were only an update about every 15 minutes, so I couldn't see it in live. And then when I seen that 9th inning run, I was like, man, they're going to shut this down.
And that was in Jacksonville, correct?
Yeah, we were in Jack. We actually played at the University of North Florida. I guess Bowles' field is under some construction, so it was a big ballpark, a beautiful ballpark, Division I stadium, and it was a lot of fun.
When did you guys get back?
We got back. I pulled into my driveway at 2 a.m.
Wow.
Well, give us a little breakdown of the game. Tell us what happened from your end, and talk about some of the players that bailed it out and had the win.
Absolutely. Well, on Monday we they beat us Monday 17-5.
Wow.
But that was a 6-5 game going in the 6th inning, and this best-of-3 series is a little different than the single elimination stuff. So, Monday wasn't must-win. I mean, we were trying to win, but when they scored a few runs late, I decided not to throw some of our pitchers that we might use, and we threw some other guys.
Yeah.
And we just that was a strategy. But we knew we had Zach Flitcraft and go, and on Tuesday Zach Flitcraft was just awesome. We beat Bowles at home 9-3, and Flitcraft just completely dominated them for 6 innings. And, and the offense, the offense was good. I think we got 14 hits on Tuesday.
Wow.
And then we knew we had Lakota ready to go, and Lakota, we had some struggles early in that game. Bowles came out with a lot of energy, and they hit us right in the mouth early, and we were reeling a little bit. We kept that game 2-0 for about 4 innings, and it felt like it could have been 5, 6, or 7-0, and we just kind of gutted it out. And Lakota found his footing. He held us in there for 5 2/3 innings, and we scratched a run and made it 2-1, and then we got another one and tied it up. And it seemed like as soon as we got it tied up, they hit a big double in the 6th and went up in the bottom of the 6th and went up 3-2. And our guys just answered in the top of the 7th. I know I don't remember if it was Blake Waits or if it was Evan Wallace who got a big single for us, but maybe Austin Goodwin worked a while. I can't remember. The innings are a little bit of a blur right now, but we got a runner to third base with 2 outs, and Zach Flitcraft. It was actually an infield single, one of those swinging bunts, and Zach can flat out fly, so they had zero chance of throwing him out, and we tied it up, and we'd actually brought in Evan Wallace. They had first and second, with 2 outs, and they had scored the run, and we brought him in and he got a big strikeout on one of their better hitters to get us out of that inning. So, and Evan Wallace, he pitched 3 1/3, scored a ball, 2 hits. He was just unbelievable.
So now that you got Bowles out of the way, who's next up?
All right. Well, we'll be in Jacksonville on Monday, and we'll be playing Bishop Snyder. So. We're the only public school left standing. There were, out of 32 playoff teams in 2A, there were 3 public schools, and the other 2 got beat 2-0.
So is this 2 out of 3 again, or no?
It is, yes, sir. It's 2 out of 3. We'll be over there Monday and Tuesday. We'll get a hotel room. We'll go over Monday morning and get a hotel room, stay the night Monday, and play those guys. And they're, obviously they're really good. They were the runner-up in their district over there. They're the 2 seed. We're the 3 seed. So. They're highly ranked in the state. They're top 25 team in the state, and it's going to be fun.
Wow.
Do you have much scouting on them?
Not yet, but actually, I don't think them and Bowles like each other very much. So the Bowles coaches they said they'd give me all the info I want, and I've got a few other resources. I think we'll find out. I know a little bit about them. I know they've got a left-handed pitcher. I think that's really good. He was their number 2 last year. Last year they had a kid that struck out 140 guys.
Whoa.
And thankfully he graduated. He's at the University of Florida now, I believe. But anyway, so we'll find some information on him. And Bishop Snyder was actually at the game. We saw him in the stands watching it. So they got a good look at us. But we'll find some information. But the biggest thing about these guys is the mettle that my guys have shown, and just their resiliency and just willing to hang in there and fight. We've played the last 4 games have been against Pensacola Catholic and Jacksonville Bowles, and we're 3-1.
Yeah.
And pretty close games and some late inning wins.
I went to Arnold's game the other day when Eli Blair threw the no-hitter, and I talked to Brian Norman before the game, talking about the 2 out of 3, and he told me something that maybe you can enlighten us on. He said if you travel over 200 miles, you can play a doubleheader. Do you know of anybody that has done that has taken advantage of that, play 2 games on like Monday, so you don't have to go Monday, Tuesday? Has anybody done that as far as you know?
Well, I think actually, no, I don't. I would imagine they probably did. I'm not a big fan of it simply because we don't play doubleheaders at all in Florida. Right. You know, that's just not something we do. I know these kids in the summer obviously play 2, 3, 4 games, you know, in a day, but I wouldn't feel comfortable with it just because doing something you haven't done all year long. Right. You know, I don't know. So when we hosted, you know, with Bowles coming over, they didn't ask, but we weren't going to play. Both teams have to agree. So that's part of the rule too. So you can't just have the host school just dictate that you're going to do that. So
hey, stick around, you got to play again. What do you mean you're leaving?
Yeah. When you're traveling, it's fine. I think they do it because they know that up here we got people are traveling. I don't know. I'm not sure how the boys would react, and I wouldn't be a big fan of it. But I see why they've given us the option, but it's not something I'd want to do.
I mean, even if you were going to play a doubleheader, it seems like you'd want to go the night before. I don't think
I would absolutely do that. Yeah, I know. Yeah. To drive 4 hours and then play 2 games. I don't think that'd be great for the kids' legs either. Cause I just know after the game last night how exhausted we were. How exhausted they were. How exhausted we were to have to play another game after that. I don't know.
So when does the next series start? Because I know, like, coming from Panama City and driving all the way to Jacksonville in a day, that's like a major league trip right there. Yeah, so talk a little bit about when's the next one and how fresh are the guys? Anybody injured? Everybody healthy?
Yeah, well, we'll travel over Monday morning, so we'll play Monday and Tuesday. Okay. So it's a pretty quick turnaround, and trying to make travel arrangements. That'll probably be what I spend the majority of my day on today. Plus, Evan Wallace is signing with Florida Baptist College today, so that's going to be a big deal too. Nice. So we've got that on our plate. But healthy. That's it. Yep. Sorry, guys. I got in at 2 in the morning. So, anyway, Brooks Skipper's been injured for us for about 3 or 4 weeks now. He's got a little back deal that he's been dealing with, and he's just not right yet. So, and he's one of our better guys. He's going to Gulf Coast, so we've had to make some adjustments in our lineup and defensively based on that. And then in the first game against Jacksonville Bowles, the very first play on Monday, we had a collision at first base with our first baseman, and he came up a little gimpy with his knee, Blake Waits, and he had to come out of the game. But the next morning it felt pretty good. He's still dealing with it. He's, like practice on Wednesday, we didn't let him do anything, because he was pretty sore because he did play Tuesday. And he had a hit for us last night and played a great game at first base. He's kind of, he's like Bill Buckner, like Kurt Gibson out there right now. But he's answering the bell for his teammates, and the kid's got guts. He's a sophomore. And then we had back in the Arnold game, Austin Goodwin got hit by a pitch on a bunt in his finger and broke his finger. And he was back a couple weeks later. And I would imagine it's healed and he's playing, but you can tell on some throws, because it's on his throwing hand. You can tell on some throws that maybe it's still not quite 100%. But these guys are battling, and other than that, we are pretty healthy. I'm sure the guys are tired. We've given them school leave till 11:30 today so they can sleep in.
Talk about a little bit about what this series means for you going forward. I mean, you talk about what a huge win coming from behind. Like you said, this team's been resilient all year. It's one of the most complete teams I think you've had at Bozeman. Talk a little bit about how this win can springboard you into the next series and even maybe to a state title. I know you don't want to look too far ahead, but, I mean, that's a huge win, and the guys have to be pumped.
Oh, yeah, they are, and it's, and they can see it. It's funny, in the van, these kids talk, and, not talking to me, but talking to each other. Right. One of my guys, my catcher, Cash Zirkle, he's one of our leaders, and he was just talking to the other guys. He said, man, I just felt really confident we were going to get it done in the 7th inning, It's just kind of a mindset that's taken over. I think we were struggling a little bit there at the end of the season. We had a close game with Mosley and then had a terrible inning and lost 10-5, and then the Mariana game, we were down. I think we were down 4-1 going in the 7th, and found a way to win that one. But that Pensacola Catholic game, we walked them off in the 7th, and we swung the bats really well against their good pitching. And, beating a team like that, a perennial power, with their state championships and their national champions banner, beating those guys, I think it really told our guys that, we can play with anybody. Yeah. And then to go out there against Bowles and, have a sixth inning where they brought 16 guys to the plate and scored 11 runs, to bounce back from that and just to have that confidence inside that Tuesday was another day. And I just feel like now they think they can beat anybody, which is a good, Bishop Snyder is obviously, I guess they were ranked higher and they were a little bit higher seed in their district than Bowles, but we feel like they may be similar. But, we feel like the thing we've kind of preached to these guys is, another team can be better than you in baseball, and that's okay, but we play baseball really well. Right. For the game of baseball and how we play it really well, and we can field a ball and we can catch a fly ball and we can throw it across and we can throw multiple pitches for strikes. And, we're not afraid of guys who throw hard. We saw Cooper Ma, he may be the best pitcher in the state. We didn't score a lot on him, but we battled him tough, and we've got confidence. South Walton, we didn't win, but man, they know that we played them that day, and just these guys are, they know the South Walton's as good as anybody in the entire state. So if we can play with them, I just think that's kind of the feeling now. It's like whatever kind of game breaks out, we feel like, if we can hang around, it was like a Rocky movie. They were like Clubber Lang. We just felt like we just kept getting hit in the jaw last night. And all of a sudden we put our hand on his head and said, you ain't so bad. And here we come. We just absorbed the punches. And when we started punching back, it was, we found our footing and found a way to win.
Great job, man.
Well, Coach, congratulations on the series victory. What time are y'all going to leave Monday, and what time's the game Monday for the listeners out there?
I haven't talked to Bishop Snyder yet. I'm assuming it'll be 7 Eastern, and we'll probably leave, 8 or 9 in the morning, get over there, get in a hotel, get something to eat, find a play. We found a hitting facility yesterday. We'll probably we'll probably have a similar plan that we had yesterday, except we'll check into a hotel. We'll get something to eat, we'll hit, and then we'll head over to the field and be ready to play.
And I'm sure this is going to cost a lot of money. So if guys, people out there want to donate, how can they donate to you? Do you got a Zelle? Do you have just bring it by the school? Just tell us a little bit how we can help you guys out.
I know we have a Venmo. I believe it's Bozeman Baseball Boosters. Obviously, money and checks can get dropped off at the school. If any of the people out there know any parents of ours, they can set them up with a way to make some donations. And it'll be an expensive trip, and but and that's what it is. We've done it before. Our parents are pretty resilient too. They know how to raise some money. They know how to hit people up. So if we got any of those Bozeman Buck people that want to help us out, we'll take all the help we can get. We're super thankful.
Yeah.
Well, Coach, good luck next week. Hopefully, when we talk to you next Friday,
our field looks
we'll
great.
be celebrating
by the way.
still.
Our field looks great. So.
I appreciate that. Appreciate that, Coach. Give us a call next week, and we'll hopefully be celebrating another series victory for you.
There we go.
All right.
Thanks, guys.
Good luck, Coach. Congratulations.
Thanks, fellas. Appreciate it.
All righty. So if you're hungry this afternoon or for lunch, go down to J. Michael's, get one of their famous lunch specials. How much time we got, Wildcat?
Well, we can talk a little bit more, or we're gonna do FSU next.
Sure.
All right, sounds good to me.
So we'll go to break and come back and talk some FSU football.
It's the PCB Hobby Takeover with Todd. Mondays at 5:20 on ESPN Northwest Florida.
That is a very high-end card and very rare.
Todd talks about coins, trading cards, collectibles, and the amazing stories behind them.
It was the first one that's ever come through my door.
Plus, we'll be taking your calls and questions at 850-215-6290. The PCB Hobby Takeover.
A platform for you to do your hobby.
Mondays at 5:20 on the Sports Talk Must. ESPN Northwest Florida.
Discover Kia at Bill Bird Kia. The road is yours. cars. Let spring adventures begin in a brand new Kia from Bill Bird Kia. Stop by today and check out the 2025 SUV family. Take a test drive and see the all-new features that elevate any adventure. And now offering 1.9% APR for up to 60 months on the purchase of a new 2025 Kia Sportage. You'll get the perfect balance of comfort, safety, and technology. Bill Bird Kia is the home of the 20-year, 200,000-mile warranty. Stop by and see us at 2435 East 15th Street or anytime at Bill Bird Kia, PanamaCity.com. We'll treat you like family and give you the peace of mind you can trust at Bill Bird Kia.
Offer from Kia Finance America for the purchase of a new 2025 Kia Sportage. $1,748 per month per 1,000 financed in 60 months. Qualities limited. Cannot be combined with other finance offers. Not available on balloon financing. The 20-year, 200,000-mile warranty is a Bill Bird Kia warranty. See dealer for complete details. Offer for well-qualified buyers. Must take delivery from dealer stock through 4/30/25.
Reliable Copy Products is proud to be the exclusive dealer in Northwest Florida for Kyocera office equipment. Reliable Copy Products has been committed to providing professional, personalized service for the last 35 years. They understand that the right equipment does not always fall within today's budget requirements, so they offer several options for the equipment you need today for the growth you expect tomorrow. Call James Smothers at 784-6601. 784-6601. Reliable Copy Products on Harrison Avenue, just north of Bay High School.
Want to know the inside scoop on your favorite teams? From the gridiron to the hardwood to the diamond. For comprehensive sports coverage, it's ESPN Northwest Florida. Now back to the Coach James Hale Show inside the J. Michael Studio.
Florida State!
Florida State! Florida State!
That was enthusiastic.
It was.
All right, Jimbo, give us the secrets of Florida State. What secrets are out there?
Well, the secrets are kind of in the past, unfortunately for football. And I'm just going to reference my comments about Florida State based on what happened last night in the NFL draft. And we talked a little bit about it at the beginning. If you know me, I'm a numbers guy. I keep track of all this kind of, not like Mel Kiper, but I just keep track of, it was 32 picks last night, and 26 were from the SEC and the Big Ten. Okay? ACC had 2. One from Miami, one from North Carolina. None from Florida State. And I don't know how many Florida State's going to have today or tomorrow either. So what I'm trying to get at is, obviously the talent, what the NFL views as talent is maybe not there. But last year they did really very well. That Verse and that big Fisk, I think it was that big defensive tackle.
Dominated.
They did a great job. And they had receivers too. The one place for the Buffalo Bills, Coleman, I think.
Keon Coleman.
Yeah, so they had some guys, but it seems like this year, I don't know if they're going to have many Florida State people drafted. And what I referenced before, just use Ohio State guys that got drafted. All 4 of the guys that got drafted from Ohio State all came back, with NIL. They came back for one more year. They could have all gone out, and probably none of them would have been first round selections. So what I'm getting at is, I think in the era of NIL and transfer portal, people get impatient and they don't want to stick around. They don't want to develop. And I think that's really hurt Florida State. I really do. And they don't stick around. They want to go here, there, and everywhere. And it just doesn't always work out, or they get guys in like DJ, the quarterback.
Bad.
That was bad.
And I think one of the problems with Florida State is, and we've hit on this a million times, so this isn't anything nobody knows, is their high school recruiting hasn't been up to standard. And that's how you build the foundation of a program. So if you look at, and we always talk about Ohio State, and I know people get tired of it, but that's our reference because that's who we root for. That's what we have the most knowledge of. 3 out of their 4 guys were homegrown. I mean, they recruited out of high school kids. They developed within the program. Obviously Simmons came in for 2 years, but he was there for 2 years too.
Right.
But Donovan Jackson, Emeka Buka, Tyleik Williams, those all guys were recruited out of high school before NIL was even legal and got developed within the program. So, and that's where you get your top end talent, is when you build that foundation through the high school ranks, and then you add pieces like a Caleb Downs, like, maybe a Will Howard, but you can't build an entire roster like that. And I think that fell apart on Florida State this last year, and why we didn't see many guys drafted this year.
Right. You can't hit home runs every year.
No. And now all the big dogs are scouring the portal now. I think Florida State had a little bit of luck because most of these schools were a little bit weary about jumping in the portal, maybe making some of their current players mad. Now that's thrown out the window. Texas, Ohio State, Alabama, Georgia, Oregon, they're all going hard in the portal. If they need to have any need, they're going in, and they don't care about their players' feelings anymore because they know this is a business, and if they don't win, guess what? They get fired. So they're going to do everything they can to win. So it's not just this wide open, oasis of players for just a few teams to pick from. Everybody's hitting the portal hard.
Right. So I don't know how it's ever going to translate for Florida State. Can they get it turned around? I would sure think so because you're in the state of Florida. There's always going to be players. It's just, who did you meet? We talked about this the other day. As an example, Jeremiah Smith at Ohio State, probably the best player in the country. He was this close from going to Florida State, Miami, Florida. They all were nibbling at him.
Cam Ward was this close to going to Florida State, and they didn't want to pay him as much.
How different would that be had Jeremiah Smith gone to Florida State and not Ohio State? I mean, you're talking complete transformation.
How different it would have been if Cam Ward would have went to Florida State and DJ would have went to Miami. We're talking completely different. You could flip-flop their records almost, and it's just you just don't know until you get the guys in the locker room. And the problem with the portal is you don't know until you get a guy in the locker room what his character's like, how his work ethic is, and it's just a crapshoot at that point.
And let's bring this up again. We talked about a little bit about it before, but Deion Sanders and obviously Shedeur are kind of like a package deal, obviously. And James and I were familiar with Deion because he went to North Fort Myers High School, which is a team that we played every year at Cape High.
Yeah.
We played him every year. James didn't coach against him, but I didn't either. The year before I came, he was a senior at North Fort Myers. But anyway, he is from North Fort Myers. He's got a very strong personality. He was wide open then. This is in the early 90s. And he's toned it down a lot. But I think part of the reason why he didn't, Shedeur didn't get drafted is because all the stuff with Deion.
Right.
And Deion's got a really bad reputation because I wasn't real a big Deion fan until I heard Mickey Andrews said he's the hardest working guy we ever had at Florida State. There's such a bad image of a lot of it brought on by Deion himself. Just show me the money and the prime time and all that stuff. But when he got in the field, it was all business, And I think that some of that gets lost. And I know it got lost with his son too. I think that's the reason why Shedeur didn't get. It's not because he can't play. It's not that. I just think it's all the other stuff around it. That's like, we don't want that circus. We don't want all that attention.
But I do think he had an overhyped career. Let's be honest. He was 13-12 in the Big 12. No elite teams there. I mean, they didn't win a bowl game. They were 0-3 against top 25 teams. I mean, when you look at the body of work, and I think he's going to be a solid quarterback. It just depends on what round you get him in, the value that you're going to get from him. But when you're talking about NFL GMs, they don't care about the hype. They don't care that this is your dad. They don't care about this. Can you win us football games? And if we're going to invest a first-round pick, we want you to come in and start today, or at least sit a year behind an experienced guy, and then you be the guy. I just don't know if he's got that top-end talent. I think he's a tough kid. I mean, I've seen him get beat up there at Colorado.
He took a lot of sacks, that's for sure.
He'd stay in the pocket. But wins got to matter at some point. And when you're playing in the Big 12, you should at least be equal to those teams or better. And you would think an elite quarterback would put you over the top. You would win the Big 12. You at least get the playoffs or something like that.
Right.
And it just didn't seem that it was just a lot of inconsistency. And then you throw in the baggage with Deion and that whole circus that surrounds them and wherever they go. And I just think GM's got turned off a little bit by it. But I think he's going to go today in the second round. I think somebody's going to get a good value for him, too, because I think structurally he's got good mechanics. I think he's got a decent arm, and I think he's a tough kid. So I think he's going to get picked the second round. I think that's probably exactly where he should have been picked.
Right. It might even be the first pick, which goes to Cleveland.
Yeah. And I think if Cleveland hits him there, I think Cleveland had a great draft. I mean, Deshaun Watson, Jameis Winston, Joe Flacco, those aren't exactly setting me on fire. So if you can get a guy like that in the second round with the first round they had, I think Cleveland killed it. And I think they did a really good job trading out of that number 2 pick as well.
Right.
Well, it's also going to be going when you get to the NFL. It's all about their system.
Yep.
You could have a great arm, great talent, everything else, but if you're in the wrong system, you're just not going to do well.
Right.
And we've seen that with number one draft picks at quarterback, with players that are decent at one team, then they get traded, and all of a sudden they're a star, or they were a star at one team. They go after the big money, and now they're a bust. And it has to do a lot with the system they're playing within.
That and organizations. I mean, are you going to put the money in to build a team around him like Caleb Williams at Chicago? I mean, are they going to invest in the money? Because they really didn't do it with Justin Fields. Now they're like, oh, we need receivers. Oh, we need offensive linemen. So they started to invest in that. So we'll see if that, comes around. But a lot of it's about the guys around you. I mean, it took Lamar Jackson a little bit to, kind of find his footing in Baltimore and kind of.
To me, the biggest example of that is Bryce Young going to Carolina.
Yeah, for sure.
Bryce Young won the Heisman at Alabama. I mean, you can't get any better than that. And he goes to Carolina, and he's struggling to stay on his feet because they can't protect him.
Yeah.
That's always the problem with, big time players. In college, they're really good, and they go to teams in the NFL that maybe aren't really ready to protect them, and that's a big problem.
That's why I'm interested to see how Cam Ward does up there with the Giants, because they're notorious about not, giving those guys the weapons they need. They get rid of Saquon Barkley. They've gotten rid of Odell Beckham Jr. I mean,
my son last night goes, could you imagine them if they hadn't got rid of Saquon and then they get Cam Ward?
Yeah.
And then
that would have kind of helped.
That would have been
here,
like
Saquon, here, take the ball.
Especially for your first year as a rookie quarterback, you can throw it out of the backfield to this guy. I mean, plus they got the LSU wide receiver. I think is going to be pretty good, but they definitely need some weapons for him to be able to succeed.
Fellas, Mother's Day is right around the corner. Have y'all already got everything set up for Mother's Day? What about you, Wildcat? Where's the place to go if we need a Mother's Day present?
I absolutely know where to go, and that's David Adamson Designer Jewelry. Mother's Day is around the corner. Plus, if you've got that special someone and you want to get her that special diamond ring and ask her to be yours truly forever and ever, they can take care of that engagement ring. They can design it. They can build it. They can have it on her finger within 10 days, and they can do it less than anybody else. And if you got a few pieces of jewelry, you want to have them appraised, or you just want to take your jewelry and have it cleaned and checked out and make sure that it's not going to fall apart, take it to David Adamson Designer Jewelry, Highway 77 in Lynn Haven.
Hey, after you get your jewelry and Mother's Day and you give it to her, hop on down to the local 115. Get you some good food.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, Kyle down there and the Vandergriff family, they'll take care of you. The food is excellent.
Oysters, crab cakes, and get you a Tommy Oliver, and you'll have a great day.
Hey.
Everybody's ready to go
I'm
now.
ready. I'm ready
Actually,
now.
we're cutting this show short today.
Yeah, there we go. Thank you for listening. We'll be right back and see at 8 o'clock. We've got Jeff Spiegel coming up. It's going to help us with the Alabama update and the Austin. Or Auburn, update. And we're going to take your calls as well at 215-6290. So check us out, right?
ESPN Northwest Florida. We're taking the inside drive.
I follow a lot of soccer and basketball on Instagram, and you have some of these NBA players that are like, whoa, man, the Europeans, they're working on fundamentals at a young age where we're just going to tournaments and playing these games. They're really learning the game inside out before they start.
Join Ryan Mulvey.
Thank you very little.
Middays 11 to 1 on ESPN Northwest Florida.
Good morning. This is Joanna with your weather forecast from ESPN Northwest Florida on this Friday. Mostly sunny this afternoon and evening with a wind around 10 miles per hour out of the south and the high of 80. Tonight, look for a mixture of slight fog and partly cloudy skies with a temperature near 69. Tomorrow, high around 81 and slight fog in the morning, but otherwise mostly sunshine. This weather forecast is brought to you by Earthworks of Northwest Florida. Thank you for tuning into ESPN Northwest Florida. Rely on it.
Golf is a game that should be fun, but to have the most fun, you need to play your best. That's where the experts at Golf Plus come in. Their friendly staff will guide you through the buying process, answer all your questions, and can help with any repairs you need along the way. Golf Plus is your custom fitting, club repair, and golf retail shop. Golf Plus staff is non-commissioned and will work with you to find the best product for your game, just like they've been doing since 1988. Golf Plus in Dothan and Panama City Beach. Fitting, repair, retail. That's Golf Plus.
That boot store can help you dress in style, from casual Western wear for a night out with family and friends to a special meeting that requires a fashion touch with Western flair. From boots to hats, belts to shirts to jeans and a lot more for the smallest of the largest in name brand Western attire, including Carhartt work clothes. Shop that boot store for the whole family. Open Tuesday through Thursday 9 to 5, Friday and Saturday 9 to 5:30. Next to Billboard Kia, 15th Street, Panama City, where God is good all the time.
Gives a really low passenger rating on Uber. He punched a magician and started a petition to remove the penny from circulation.
Like to punch him in the face, I'll tell you.
Now back to the Coach James Hale Show inside the J. Michael studio.
Is he sane? I have no idea.
ESPN Northwest Florida.
Morning, folks. We're back. We got Jess Spiegel coming up here in just a second. But real quick, it's hot, it's sunny outside. If you got anything coming up on your skin, go see Dr. Ward with dermatology specialist. Skin cancer can be a big thing, it can be a problem, but if you can catch it early, you can get rid of it. Go see Dr. Ward at one of his convenient locations all throughout the Panhandle. And then if you're wanting to go exercise while out there, after you got cleared from Dr. Ward, go down to Steve's Bike Shop and go get you a bicycle, get your bicycle all fixed up and repaired.
I'm going to check out one of them electric bikes. I don't know, Coach Hale's been talking about them. I want to go down there and see what they got. Cause
I've had a couple friends that buy the electric bikes. I will say this. The electric bikes, get one that still has pedals.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, you still want to be able to ride it. I mean,
I've got a buddy. He went and bought one. It is straight electric. Him and his wife, they're on a camping trip. Hers ran out. He didn't charge it or
what
something.
What do we do now, honey?
Oh, well, no, you know what he did? He walked.
Right.
Pushing a bicycle as she rode back to the camper. So
no, I want one that I can still pedal, but if I need to go up the Hathaway Bridge, I'm going to hit the electric juice.
I saw one about a week and a half ago. I was going down 390 in Lynn Haven. I was driving the speed limit of 45, and the electric bike passed me on the side.
I don't know if I want to go that fast.
To 45 miles an hour on 390? I hate that road. That's my nemesis.
Hey, that's one of those you take a double take when you look over because the guy on the sidewalk is going like 50. You're like, whoa.
But yeah, across from Sam's right there on 23rd Street. So yeah, go check him out. I mean, it's a great bike shop. He's been around forever too. Good man.
Been around forever. We got Spiegel ready?
That's coming up at 8 o'clock.
Oh, 8 o'clock.
You still got one more segment.
One more segment. Great.
What you got?
Oh, all types of stuff. High school sports. But we kind of mentioned it before. The school boards have to start doing something so these schools don't have to raise so much money to participate in school activities. I mean, that's hard to say, but it needs to be brought up. All of our baseball teams, I know Mosley just got done with a thing. Arnold's going on a trip. You know, and I know when I went to school, probably the same with you, Jason, all that was paid for by the schools back then. And I'm not into the finances. We just got to do a better job.
Yeah. Didn't we have the county commissioner on so they paid for their transportation this year if they went? I can't remember. I don't want to put any words in their mouth, but I know these trips are expensive, especially with Bozeman having to go to Jacksonville yesterday, coming back. Now they're going to Jacksonville again for, 2-game at least series. They could be like 2 and then coming back to Panama City again. So you're probably talking 15, 20 grand just for those 2-3 trips in a row like that, especially if you make it to the state title. You're going to spend 25, 30 grand. I just don't know how that's feasible without making
the thing that's crazy about this, because I've coached up here and I've coached in South Florida.
And please go donate. That's what we're trying to get at, because these guys need help, and these are some of the best baseball players in the state, so we want to see them succeed.
And that's just our current thing, though, baseball.
Right. No,
I'm talking more as a whole.
Football, girls, basketball,
girls.
All of it.
Here's one that most people never think about, and I know about it because my daughter's a cheerleader. But the cheerleaders, when they go cheer at an away football game, they have to pay for their way there.
I did not know that.
Yeah, that should be part of the traveling budget. Does the band pay their own way too, and all that?
I do not know.
Yeah,
I know most cheerleading school at the schools don't get any funding. They get practice places and stuff like that. They purchase their own uniforms and do all that.
This is probably going to get me in trouble, but what the heck happened to all the lottery money that we were promised? I mean,
it's in pockets somewhere.
Hundreds of millions of dollars that we bring in that was supposedly going to schools is obviously going into somebody's pocket that we don't know about, because that's what all this was intended for. And we all buy lottery tickets. I mean, most of us do. I don't think every single person does. But that was supposed to be a percentage to help pay more teachers, help pay coaches, help fund these athletic departments. And I don't think I've seen a dollar go to anybody that I would say, yep, that went right there to Bay High football or Mosley baseball. So what happened to that?
Yeah, Mr. Musk, please come down here and do a little
get
audit.
down here, Doge.
And, let's find out what's going on.
We've talked about this before. Travel expenses. Let's talk about the travel because I know we're talking about cheerleading, but the travel expenses is something there's got to be something that can be done. Like in South Florida, when we were at Cape Coral High School, about Fort Myers, we didn't have to go but half an hour at the most.
Right.
And we could fill out our schedule. Here, I'll give you an example. Arnold High School was playing Fort Walton Beach, in the playoffs last week. They beat them twice. They're playing Choctaw. You know who Choctaw played? Choctaw was playing St. Augustine. So St. Augustine was traveling from St. Augustine to Fort Walton Beach. Are you kidding? Twice.
The worst was the football.
Are you kidding?
Well, you brought this
when
up.
Chipley had to play Pahokee.
Right.
And it's like, how are you even in the same region, district, whatever?
Yeah,
that's the opposite ends of the state.
Same way with Bozeman playing these Jacksonville schools. I mean, how is that their region? You got Tallahassee right there. You got Pensacola right here. Yet you're traveling to Jacksonville to play in your region, and there's just no common sense for North Florida teams. Coach Hale's talked about this all the time. These guys cater to kind of the South Florida schools, and everything down there is within 35, 40 miles.
Yeah.
You can find, 20 schools within a 50-mile radius. So you're not traveling these things, but they don't understand up here, especially the smaller schools, they don't have that much money. And when you have a region that you're going from Panama City to Jacksonville every week, I don't.
It's not cheap.
No, and it doesn't make sense.
Well, when I left Arnold, I went to Taylor County, Perry, Florida.
Yeah.
Okay, in 2005, we made the playoffs. You know who we had to play from Perry, Florida? We had to play Pensacola Catholic. You talk about from Perry, which is south of Tallahassee, not quite to Gainesville, to Pensacola, like our first round, like first game.
Yeah.
That was like a 4-hour drive, whatever it was. It's like time difference. It's like it's crazy. I don't know. I don't know what the solution is, but the way they got it now, it makes no sense.
We gotta get back to selling those chocolate bars for $1. You remember ones that had to walk around and sell at school?
Making $1 per candy bar doesn't pay the bills.
No, that ain't gonna get you $9,000 for a bus.
Yeah, the lottery question is a good question, and I don't have a good answer to it.
I'm probably gonna get in trouble for that.
Because that's been around a long time.
Go start my car.
So I had a trivia question. I got a buddy, Eric Shell, kind of gave it to me the other day, and it had to do with the NFL draft and all. Kind of the topic me and him were talking about. But who has the most NFL Hall of Famers from what colleges?
NFL Hall of Famers.
What colleges that have produced the most NFL Hall of Famers?
I would think like Miami or Alabama.
This is NFL Hall of Fame.
Correct.
I would say maybe
USC, maybe
USC, Notre Dame.
Notre Dame would be a
Got
good
one so far.
Which one did I get?
Notre Dame.
Okay.
Notre Dame's at the top of the list.
Okay.
Alabama's
And I've
on
been to the
list.
Hall of Fame many times.
Yeah, I have too. Not many times, but I think
It's been a while.
We're going to throw Michigan in there, maybe? Close? Am I warm?
Oklahoma, Penn State, Ohio State, all the usual suspects.
Yeah, the one when I was pulling it up that was the most surprising, here it is. So Southern Cal's up there. Notre Dame is up there. Notre Dame has 14. Southern Cal has 14. Michigan has 11.
Boo.
Your Ohio State has 10.
Well, we want to recount on that.
Yeah.
But then a school that nobody thinks of.
Is there a conference they're in? Or would that give it away?
That would give it away.
Okay.
They've switched conferences. They're now in the ACC. I'll say that.
Stanford?
Nope.
Miami?
Pittsburgh.
Oh, wow.
Who?
Pittsburgh.
Pittsburgh.
Pittsburgh is tied with Ohio State.
Wow.
For fourth.
I'd never guess them.
No.
And then Miami's right behind them, Alabama, Syracuse, and then the last two will make you scratch your head in the top 10.
Is it Army or Navy?
No, that would be, because they've been around forever.
Right.
Minnesota with 7.
Wow.
It'd be hard-pressed for some of our listeners to even name somebody from the Hall of Fame from Minnesota.
It'd be hard for me to name a player on their team right now. And I'm a Big Ten fan. So.
And then rounding out is Illinois.
That makes a little more sense to me. Illinois
Jake
was good in the
Butkus, there's
80s
one.
and 60s and 70s.
Other than that,
Problem is, some of these are going back to, the early 1900s?
Some of it. I mean, I've got a list. It goes through with each school who is in the Hall of Fame and stuff like that. But some of the schools that will surprise you, let's see, where's it at? Since we're an SEC school, how many does Auburn have? Let's go to some of the SEC schools. Hall of Famers in the NFL Hall of Fame that came out of Auburn.
7. That's my guess.
I would say about 5.
I think this is a trick question. Someone got 0.
2.
Okay.
Yeah.
If I was on The Price is Right, I would have won that because I was below.
Kevin Green.
That's right. Ding, ding, ding.
Okay,
ding,
I forgot he
Kevin
went
Green.
to
And then a guy, Frank Gatsky.
That sounds like some World War II era stuff. There.
Alabama has 8. I might have to save this one for Coach. If he could name the Hall of Famers from Alabama.
He could. He just got to pronounce their names.
Yeah. Bart Starr would be one. Don Hudson
is
would be
one.
another one. There's 2.
Who played for the Jets?
Joe Namath.
Yep, Joe Namath. Ozzie Newsome.
Oh,
I forgot
Ozzie,
about
yeah.
Ozzie. What was the linebacker that was really good, too?
Derek Thomas.
Leroy Jordan?
Derek Thomas.
No.
No Leroy Jordan?
No. Ken Stabler.
Oh,
Ken
yeah.
Stabler.
Got to be a running back,
And
too.
Dwight Stevenson.
They're going to have some other
John
players.
Hanna. But I don't know if any of them are running
John
backs.
Hanna was awesome.
Yeah.
Oh, let's go. As I'm pulling down here, let's go Florida. The University of Florida. How many Hall of Famers in the NFL?
In the NFL.
Emmett Smith, I would say, for sure.
That's 1.
Jack Youngblood.
That's 2. That is it.
Wow.
That's it?
That is it.
Wow.
Florida State locally has 5. Where's Georgia? Georgia. What say you, Jason?
I'm drawing a blank here outside of...
The most recent one was probably Champ Bailey.
Right.
Yeah, he is in there. Former Denver Bronco. Running back. Terrell Davis.
Oh, yeah, Terrell Davis.
Okay.
Fran Tarkington. But yeah, Georgia has 5. Let's see.
Herschel Walker's not in there, is he?
I didn't see Herschel.
Yeah, I don't think so.
I don't think he's in the Hall of Fame.
Yeah. Maybe the College Hall of Fame, maybe, but
He's not in the NFL Hall of Fame?
There's a lot of great superstars that never made the Hall of Fame.
Right.
Which really, when you start looking at it, it kind of gives you surprising. When you really go down through this list that I'm looking at, because like Florida, you would think 5 or 6, but they have 2.
Well,
with all the great players they've had.
It just shows you how different the NFL and college is. Because if you think about Tim Tebow, greatest college football player at the time, and then didn't translate to NFL fully, there's other guys like Percy Harvin that were tremendous at Florida but weren't great in the NFL. I mean, they've had a lot of talent over the years, especially college level, but some of it just – and I think Alabama, those Ohio State teams, Georgia, they're going to put some more Hall of Famers here in the near future because the amount of talent they've been putting in the NFL recently is just staggering. So,
well, the big thing about the NFL, you can have a great player out of college – he goes and he plays great for a couple years, then he gets injured.
Yep.
I mean, you take like Auburn's with Bo Jackson.
Right.
Herschel Walker had a really good career, but then he went to the USFL, and that probably cost him some of his.
Archie Griffin, two-time Heisman winner, wasn't a great NFL player, had some injuries in the NFL, so it's a different ballgame when you get to the NFL.
Hey, y'all are listening to 104.3 ESPN Radio. This is the Coach Hale Show. It's hot outside. Call Steverson Air Conditioning to get your air conditioners fixed, and we'll be back at the break with Jeff Spiegel.
Keep the game going with ESPN Northwest Florida. Just because you get out of the car doesn't mean the Sports Talk and Live play-by-play have to end. Just say, hey, Alexa, open ESPN Northwest Florida. From Michigan Avenue to the man cave, from the car to the kitchen, we've got you covered. Keep the game going. Hey, Alexa, open ESPN Northwest Florida.
Good morning. This is Joanna with your weather forecast from ESPN Northwest Florida on this Friday. Mostly sunny this afternoon and evening with a wind around 10 miles per hour out of the south and the high of 80. Tonight, look for a mixture of slight fog and partly cloudy skies with a temperature near 69. Tomorrow, high around 81 and slight fog in the morning, but otherwise mostly sunshine. This weather forecast is brought to you by Earthworks of Northwest Florida. Thank you for tuning into ESPN Northwest Florida. Rely on it.
CBC Construction is looking for a few good men. At CBC Construction, our greatest strength lies within our talented team. Join us and be a part of a dynamic company that values its people. We offer a tremendous opportunity to create a future for your family and the Florida Panhandle. CBC Construction is now hiring. Call us at 850-740-3815 or visit cbcconstruction.com to learn more. CBC Construction. Be part of a winning team.
GSX Lynn Haven, WVLQ Port St. John. Powered by Panama City Toyota, ESPN Northwest Florida.
It's David Hayes with a message that could save you thousands. Jed Lawyers never charges you up front. You heard me. You pay absolutely nothing unless they win your case. No gimmicks, no surprise bills, just real legal help after a car crash or injury. They're right in downtown Panama City on McKenzie Avenue, fighting hard for people just like you. Call 850-852-0000 or head to jedwins.com to get started.
The number one SEC call-in show is now twice as big. It's double the Paul Feinbaum Show. Weeknights starting at 6.
Okay, but also go faster.
Now back to the Coach James Hale Show inside the J. Michael Studio. 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida.
Roll Tide.
All right, good job.
Wherever you're going to roll to.
Nah, I can't do it.
Not going to give us a roll.
I can do it right now because my son is
Jason,
not
be
aware.
a team.
I'll throw a War Eagle in there, but no Roll Tides, man.
It's a catchy tune.
for Alabama fans.
Hey, we got Jeff? All right, awesome. Can you hear us, Jeff?
Yeah, absolutely. How are you guys?
Doing awesome. Tell us a little bit about something about going on. I know spring practice just wrapped up. You may went over this last week with Coach and all, but tell us some of the secrets coming out of Alabama.
Ooh, you know what? There was a day when you could find out some secrets about Alabama. but now, man, it's really hard to penetrate that big steel curtain that's around the football complex. It was really difficult when Nick Saban was there. But, Kalen DeBoer, the first year, he kind of he was a little relaxed. He let a lot of guys talk to the media. He let his assistant coaches talk to the media. But now in year 2, he's taken all the assistant coaches all off of the interview list, with the exception of the offensive and defensive coordinators who were available the first day of spring practice and the last day of spring practice. And we'll probably hear from them one time in the fall, and then maybe if they make like the SEC championship or a bowl game, we'll probably hear from them then. But it's gone back to that kind of, one voice kind of thing where, he's not going to let freshmen talk. And so, you get, what you get from him. And what we've gathered is that, Ty Simpson is the leader in the clubhouse right now in the quarterback race. That's what everybody wants to talk about. And that's a big question mark for Alabama because, this guy never started, a college football game. He was dynamite in high school, aren't they all? I mean, they were all great in high school. But when you get to the SEC, it's a different level. And he's got to play his first game in one of the most hostile environments in college football at Doak Campbell Stadium. So, there's so many questions to be answered that we won't get answered until August 30th.
Yeah, that's going to be an interesting game coming in for Florida State and Alabama. Florida State has kept everything super hush-hush coming out of Tallahassee. Even their own news guys don't really know a whole lot about the team and what's going on. And I know DeBoer has tightened the reins up there at Alabama. My question is not really with the quarterbacks, though. It's more on the defensive side because Alabama lost a big linebacker. They lose some guys on the line. What's the feeling back defensively, because they're going to have to replace those guys?
Yeah, well, the feeling is, they've got a lot of guys who can come up and and take their place. And one of the big guys on this team is Tim Keenan. And I've always felt like you kind of build your team from the offensive line and defensive lines back. The line of scrimmage is so important in college football. And Alabama's got a hoss up there on the defensive front in Tim Keenan. He's one of the guys who, could have gone into the NFL draft. I don't think he would have been a day one guy, but he probably would have been somewhere like a day two guy. I mean, I really believe that. I mean, the guy's just, so darn good. And so, but he decided to come back, and I think a lot of people are kind of following his lead and following his leadership. And he's a local kid who's really, he just bleeds Alabama. In this day of NIL, you don't find many guys who just play, for the love of the game and the love of the jersey and all that stuff. And this is a guy, Tim Keenan, who plays for the love of the game and loves wearing that Alabama jersey every time he goes out.
One of the areas I was kind of interested in is the wide receiver spot. I think that my thought is I think Alabama's going to be better this year because I think they're going to have a quarterback that suits the Ryan Grubb, the Kalen DeBoer offense a little bit better. I just didn't think Milroe was a good fit there. But outside of Ryan Williams, who are the weapons that you're hearing about in the spring that can kind of take that next step and kind of complement him as an elite receiver?
Well, a lot of the buzz has been about Isaiah Horton, the transfer from Miami. And he had a really great spring and, caught a lot of balls at Miami. So he's come in and made like an immediate, transition into the Alabama system. And so, he's a guy that you hear a lot about. Of course, Ryan Williams is the guy who I think there were about 230 people waiting in his autograph line, after A-Day. So he's the bell cow. Jeremy Bernard is he's the old head of the bunch. He knows these assistant coaches because he was at Washington. He knows how DeBoer ticks. DeBoer knows how he ticks. And so I think it all starts with Williams and Bernard. I think Horton is the guy who could be really explosive this year and make some big plays.
Yeah, how much different? I know this is DeBoer's second year, and typically everybody says always the third year is the year when you really have all of your systems in place and running. Are we going to see more of that this year, do you think? Is this going to be a 2-year turnaround, or is it still going to be a lot of old school Alabama with him throwing his stuff in there?
Well, I think this will resemble more of a DeBoer offense. I think what he wanted to do, he didn't want to make Jalen Milroe into his system quarterback. He wanted to take, his skill set and just work around him. And that worked to some degree. To some degree, it really didn't. I mean, there were times when, Jalen just, flat out didn't execute. And that was no fault of DeBoer. I mean, the guys have to execute what you throw out there. And but I think there seems to be more of a comfort level here. That's just the feel you get with these quarterbacks, with all three of them. Ty Simpson, Austin Mack, and Keelan Russell as well. So, and that's not a knock against Jalen Milroe. Jalen Milroe is one of the most athletic quarterbacks that, Alabama's ever had. I mean, guy could throw a great deep ball and the fastest, guy on the team, I think. But I think this is going to be a quarterback room that Kalen DeBoer and Ryan Grubb, probably more importantly, are very comfortable with.
Switching a little bit of gears with basketball. I know Nate Oates had a great season this past year. What are they doing as far as recruiting out there? Give us an update. It's not as wide stream as the football right now.
Well, the big buzz today is that Rylan Griffin is on campus today. Rylan Griffin is a guy who was part of that Final Four team. Made some big plays. In big moments. For Alabama, and then he transferred, and then he went to Kansas, and then for whatever reason, the grass wasn't always greener in Kansas. Did they have grass in Kansas? I'm not really sure if they did, but he decided, he wants to get in the portal. He wants to explore his options, and one of those options is coming back to Alabama. And we were talking to the sports office, and we go, well, what kind of visit is that going to be? Like, you going to show him like all the facilities and everything? I mean, God knows where everything is.
It's an old room, but we repainted it.
Yeah. So, I mean, it's like, I don't know what that visit is going to entail, but there was some speculation when the minute Rylan Griffin went in the portal is that he was coming back to Alabama. And, sometimes you can't go home again. Sometimes you can go home again, and it works out. So that'll be interesting to see how that visit comes out today between Oates and Rylan Griffin.
Yeah, I know Nate Oates has done a great job there at Alabama. Are you going to be staying over for the Auburn segment?
Absolutely.
Awesome.
All right. Thank you, Jeff.
Yeah, just stay on hold, and we'll be right back with Jeff Spiegel. Tonight, if you want to go have a good time, go enjoy yourself, head on down to Newbies at one of their locations out here on the beach. You can get out. The spring break crowd is not here, so you can get a little bit of more local
Newbies got good security anyway, so you can go down there and not have to worry about people shooting you up anyway.
And if you go out to Newbies and you get hurt or something happens this weekend doing yard work or anything like that, call Chad Mitchell at Southern Orthopedic with Robot MD. He can get you fixed up.
He's the man.
Be able to get back out there so you can, if you have to rake leaves or cut the grass or do any of that fun stuff around the house.
I'd rather be hurt.
Those chores.
That'll be our excuse.
Give a shout out to Chad. He's been with the school systems here helping out on the sidelines for, I think it's 25 or 26 years.
Great guy.
Just unbelievable guy. And if you need something built at your house, TK Vandy Roofing and General Contracting. They do more than just roofing. Give them a call. Kyle's a great guy. He'll get back with you, get you really set up there. You're listening to 104.3. We'll be back with the Auburn Update with Jeff Spiegel.
The ESPN Northwest Florida Big Bracket Challenge.
Hi, this is Dave Neat from Panama City Beach, and I just won $250 from 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida playing the Big Bracket Challenge. Thank you so much to Pepsi, Panama City, Toyota, ECB Hobby for making this happen. It was a lot of fun playing against other listeners and staff. Can't wait till next year. And go Ducks!
It's ESPN Northwest Florida. Good morning. This is Joanna with your weather forecast from ESPN Northwest Florida on this Friday. Mostly sunny this afternoon and evening with a wind around 10 miles per hour out of the south and the high of 80. Tonight, look for a mixture of slight fog and partly cloudy skies with a temperature near 69. Tomorrow, high around 81 and slight fog in the morning, but otherwise mostly sunshine. This weather forecast is brought to you by Earthworks of Northwest Florida. Thank you for tuning into ESPN Northwest Florida. Rely on it.
It's David Hayes from ESPN Northwest Florida. If you've been in an accident, here's something I tell people all the time. Right after you call your insurance, call Jed Lawyers. They know how to jump in early, deal with the adjusters, and protect you from the start. You don't pay a thing unless they win. And yeah, they're right here downtown. Call 850-852-0000 or go to jedwins.com.
When you bring your vehicle to Panama City Toyota for repairs or maintenance, you'll get the warmest welcome around.
That's because we see service differently.
It's not only an expert team that can help with everything, from simple adjustments to a new set of tires. It's also a team that values your time, so we make your experience as quick and comfortable as possible. Because we're committed to service that goes beyond. Only at Panama City Toyota.
For the A.
Here comes the throw. It's late. Braves win.
Your spot for the Atlanta Braves on the Gulf Coast. Listen live nights and weekends. This is Braves Country. Now back to the Coach James Hale Show inside the J. Michael Studio. ESPN Northwest Florida.
Eagle. Hey. Martha. Something. I can't remember all the names.
All of Coach Hill's
There's a lot of
Kenny.
great Auburn fans.
Kenny, something.
Eugene.
Yeah.
Eugene Manley.
Coach Manley.
Hey, listen, if you guys haven't gotten your brand new summer edition ESPN
Ryan Mulvey.
t-shirt, here's how you do it right here. Open the app, our ESPN 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida app, and smash on the enter contest button, and you can win the brand new summer edition of the 104.3 ESPN t-shirt. Cool, huh?
Awesome. Jeff, you still with us?
Yes.
Awesome.
Definitely.
So I know, like I said, spring football is all wrapped up. Tell us some things coming out of Auburn this year. I know they've been looking for a quarterback. They're loaded at wide receiver. And Hugh Fuse, is he really on the hot seat this year, or is it going to be kind of status quo, keep going, and they should win 8, 10, 12 games?
Well, I think they got to win 8 games.
Yeah.
I mean, I think for Hugh Freeze to keep his job, I think he's got to win 8 games. And I think there's, I think Jackson Arnold, he's throwing all his chips in on the Jackson Arnold wagon here. And if that doesn't work, then you know, it's going to be mass exodus. You know, next year after the season, the coach is gone. Jackson Arnold's going to go somewhere. You know, Deuce Knight's probably going to go somewhere. It's going to be crazy. But I mean, I think this is a team that's got the potential, you know, to go out there and win 8 games. I mean, I know I think Auburn fans are cautiously optimistic that the Arnold thing is going to work. You know, because they look and they go, look, this is a guy who got benched, you know, last year by Oklahoma. But I think that's just kind of rejuvenated Arnold in some way, to where he wanted to go somewhere and kind of, you know, prove his worth again, you know, as a major college quarterback. And I think it's a system that he's very comfortable with. I don't think you're going to see a lot of, you know, fireworks that we saw last year between Hugh Freeze and Peyton Thorne. That was just one big soap opera week after week after week after week. And I think, quite frankly, it wore Auburn fans out. You know, they were tired of hearing all the, you know, whining and complaining, you know, on both sides. So I think it's a fresh start, but I think there's got to be a good end to this as well.
Who does Auburn
got to win 8 games, or he's moving on?
Who does Auburn have as running back this year? I mean, they had one of the best in the SEC last year and didn't really utilize him the way, you know, a lot of people thought they should.
Yeah, but that's a really good question. Damari Austin is option A, and he's a guy who, who made some touchdowns, made some yards last year, but he was kind of running in Jarquez Hunter's shadow, which is kind of, it's kind of odd when you say that because, it wasn't a very big shadow because Hugh Freeze didn't let the shadow get that large. So it'll be interesting to see how they utilize him, this year. And Jackson Arnold, of course, is a guy who can use his legs as well. So it'll be a new dynamic. You'll have a quarterback who's a legit dual threat guy. Peyton Thorne was able to run, but this guy's got better wheels than Peyton Thorne does. And so it's always intriguing when you have the new element thrown in, especially when you have the new quarterback. And all eyes are certainly going to be on, how they do Friday night in the opener against Baylor.
I know you talked a little bit about bringing another portal quarterback. Have you heard any more about that?
Well, they did. They've entertained that. And
Right.
I kind of wonder how Jackson Arnold feels about that. Look, I thought I was your guy, but I think you have to walk that fine line, when you're a coach, and you want depth at the position, but these guys, all these guys have egos, and some of them are fragile to the point where, they're looking at they got their eye on the portal, man. And so you got to balance that. You want depth, but you don't want to run any of your guys off. And so that's kind of a fine line he's got to walk there. So we'll see how that goes.
Yeah, so I'm sure you watched the draft last night. What's your biggest takeaways from the draft last night? And where do you see maybe Milroe going overall? I think a lot of people are pushing him up the draft board a little bit more because I think he's working with Jordan Palmer, who helped develop a lot of quarterbacks in the NFL, the throwing game. So I think somebody can take him as a flyer, maybe the second or third round. But what's your thoughts going on from the first round, and what's your thoughts on Jalen Milroe getting drafted?
Well, my biggest takeaway from the draft was I want to know if Roger Goodell had any ribs broken, with all those hugs last night. I mean, there were some big boys giving Roger Goodell some fair hugs last night. But, the image to me was Tyler Booker and how happy he was to go to the Cowboys.
Yeah.
And then Jahad Campbell waiting until the 31st pick, much later than a lot of people thought he would go. And then he winds up going to the Eagles.
Great spot.
Listen, you know how the NFL is, and the iconic franchises, in this country. I mean, you can point them out. In baseball, it's the Yankees. In basketball, it's the Celtics, it's the Lakers, and all that. Well, in the NFL, it's the Cowboys.
Yeah.
And so I got a lot of Cowboy fans, I deal with on a daily basis, here at the TV station. And there's a big one who was happy as heck that they chose Tyler Booker with the 12th pick. He's a big Alabama fan as well.
Yeah.
But sick that the Eagles got Jahad Campbell because Jahad Campbell is a monster, and the Eagles are the division rivals, of the Cowboys. So, and then Campbell, yelling out the EAGLES. So I just loved it. I thought that was great. As far as Milroe goes, I think this is a guy that can help a team. I think he said it yesterday that he wants to go to a team that's got a veteran quarterback, where he can kind of learn the system and wait his turn and play. But I think this is a guy that could really help a team. He's got that dual threat capability, which is a lot of the NFL teams are going to now. But the one thing you're concerned about when you think about Jalen Milroe is just decision making.
Yeah.
And it got worse the longer he was at Alabama, it seemed. I mean, he made some really poor decisions with the football last year. Now, on the other side, on the flip side, he made some amazing plays, especially with his feet. And that LSU game was legendary. And so you hope you see the good Milroe a lot more than the bad Milroe. In the NFL, they don't let you have too many bad Milroe moments.
Right.
But I hope the best for him.
Talk real briefly about the Auburn basketball with what they have going on. I know they're rebuilding a whole bunch of stuff. Chad Baker-Mazara entered the portal. Is he really going to go? Is he just testing waters? What's going to happen there?
No, I think he's really going to go. I mean, I think he's gotten some offers. I heard St. John's, was interested in him, and it's interesting too because he had kind of come to an agreement, with Auburn that he was going to stay one more year, but he could jump back out of the portal and return to Auburn. I think Auburn will welcome him with open arms. I think the fans would too. I think this is a guy who's who could score, second leading scorer on the team, great defender. So they would welcome him back, but they've certainly, started making other plans without him. Getting Kevin Overton from Texas Tech. I think the biggest acquisition in the portal was getting Keyshawn Murphy.
Yeah.
The big man from Mississippi State, the former Ramsey Ram, who just, who could be that double-double guy, that they're going to miss with Janai Broom out. So I'm really excited to see him in an Auburn uni. I think he's going to be terrific.
Yeah, Auburn's a unique place, especially at Neville, for the basketball. It's been interesting to watch how that place has just grown in the lore of college basketball. And I don't want to put it as a rival to Cameron, but it's kind of on its way.
Yeah, it's an amazing place. I mean, I was there. I've been to a few games there. Last year I saw the Auburn-Florida game. And, of course the place is full. And I was in the media overflow, so I was at the very top of the arena. But I loved it. I loved every minute of it. I loved the atmosphere. It's just, of course, now it always helps if you have a great team. The atmosphere is going to be better if your team is good.
Right.
And the teams have been good for the past several years. And that's one of the things that convinced me that Florida was going to win the national title when Florida came in and handled all that. Because some teams don't. Some teams don't handle it very well. But the Gators came in and, took care of Auburn, and the rest, as they say, is history.
Yeah, the Gators had a great season. Auburn did. Alabama did. It was as far as basketball goes, I thought it was one of the best seasons across college basketball.
And the tournament. The tournament was phenomenal. I think we had the four best teams, and they duked it out, and it was a tremendous Final Four, in my opinion. I thought it was one of the best years for the tournament I've seen in a long time.
Oh, I thought it was one of the best Final Fours ever. Yep. I loved it, loved every minute of it, and glad that the SEC is back on top in college basketball. And to be honest, I mean it may sit there for quite a while. I mean there are some good teams in this league, and we may see a run that we've been seeing in SEC football. In fact, I mean you could tell all these SEC coaches, you got some catching up to do. Not only with basketball, but with baseball. Well, look how many teams are in the top 25 in baseball.
Yeah.
So SEC football coaches got to step up their game here a little bit.
Yeah, the SEC tournament's just right around the corner. That'll be a great tournament to watch this year.
Yeah, it's terrific. It's going to be at the Hoover Met May 20th through the 25th, and it's always a great show. There's a campground, an RV park right by the Hoover Met, which is just full. Yeah, they don't get as crazy there as they do at Talladega, which is also this week. But baseball fans are a little more reserved, than racing fans. Thank goodness. But it's gonna be, right, exactly. But it's going to be a fun show. It always is, and I think it's one of the coolest events we have here in Birmingham. And I'm glad that it's not going to leave in the foreseeable future.
Jeff, it's great having you on the show. We really appreciate you coming on and spending the time that you do with us on a regular basis. We'll let you get out and get back to your normal day of work, and look forward to talking to you next week.
Thanks, Patrick. Appreciate y'all.
Thanks, man.
Hey, appreciate it. El Rodeo Bar and Grill. Go out there, get you some lunch or dinner. Everybody remember that Cinco de Mayo is Monday. Go get your tacos from El Rodeo Bar and Grill.
That's an excuse to drink right there. Let's go.
Hey, it's 104.3 ESPN Radio. We'll be back after the break.
Weather in the Panhandle never stops. Turn to 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida.
This is Joanna with your latest forecast.
Up to the minute weather reports all day long.
A chance of thunderstorms and moderate rain.
In-depth storm coverage.
Winter Storm Enzo.
And breaking weather as it happens.
Hurricane Helene.
ESPN Northwest Florida.
We do have a tropical storm warning.
Rely on it.
Would you sell your business if the price was right? Ready for a change? Want more time for family or just not enjoying it anymore? First Choice Business Brokers of Northwest Florida can help. Connect your business with serious buyers locally, nationally, and internationally while keeping the process confidential. Get a free, no-obligation business evaluation today. Call Natalie Kessler, broker, First Choice Business Brokers of Northwest Florida at 850-588-1025. First Choice Business Brokers of Northwest Florida is an independent franchise of First Choice Business Brokers Incorporated.
Get ready to connect. ESPN Northwest Florida is thrilled to introduce the newest rock stars to the Panama City Beach Chamber of Commerce.
Welcome to the Beach Chamber. A-Team Power Connectors, Commodore Owners Association Rentals, Edward F. Hickey Jr. Trust, Local Rays Apparel, South Oak Title 30A, and the Milkshake Factory, now open.
We're here to champion your success and connect you with this amazing community.
Congratulations from ESPN Northwest Florida.
And the Panama City Beach Chamber of Commerce, reaching Bay County and beyond.
Is your restaurant looking a little tired from the long off season? Is your office a little offish? Start the new year off right by giving them a fresh start. Fresh Start Cleaning is now accepting new clients. Ask about their complimentary hood cleaning services. Fresh Start Cleaning. Get clean again with Fresh Start. Call 850-771-6917, 771-6917, and ask about their complimentary hood cleaning services.
It's the Coach James Hale Show. Live and local from the J. Michael Studio.
A lot more excitement is yet to come.
ESPN Northwest Florida.
Hey! Welcome back to ESPN Radio. It's finally Friday. Where's that music, Wildcat? You're supposed to play like it's finally Friday.
The Fred Flintstone Yabba Dabba Doo.
Oh, well, it's a man's world, so we can remind all these
I get
women
in
out here
trouble
what's
when
going
I
on.
do stuff like that.
I know.
Sitting in here with Jason Kovaleski and Jimbo.
Mr. Jimmy.
Jim Bob Durant.
We got
Legend.
2 segments left in the
secret behind
in the
Coach
thing.
Hale's success right there.
That's right.
Jason, real quick, give us a little bit of info on Max Fit Sport Nutrition, your locations, and what people can actually. We know you got your giveaway bar,
right?
But if somebody's coming in, like I was talking to you about my daughter,
yeah,
in a particular sport, and how you can cater to what that individual needs,
right?
Getting into some of your programs.
So yeah, you can come see me. I'm usually on the 23rd Street store from 2 to 5 every single day. We can set up a consultation. I can put the son or daughter on the InBody 570. That'll tell us what their skeletal muscle is, their body fat. That'll allow me to understand. It also gives me your baseline metabolic rate, which is how many calories you're burning at rest. So that kind of gives me an idea how many calories the athlete needs throughout the day, what type of supplements are going to benefit them. Obviously, if they need to drop some body fat or cut weight, we're going to use something different than somebody that's trying to build muscle and kind of, accelerate performance. So we got 2 locations. We got knowledgeable and certified sports nutritionists at both. Our InBody 570 is a great tool for all athletes just to track results. I do it every 2 to 3 weeks just to see where my skeletal muscle is going and my percent body fat. If I see my body fat's getting higher, I can lower my carbs. If I see I'm losing muscle, I can up my protein. So it's a really good tool for people to kind of adjust their diets. But we do have the free sample bar, so you can come in and try our products for free. You don't have to buy anything to try our proteins, pre-workouts, aminos, some of our vitamins. But we are located in the Del Coronado Village on 23rd Street and in Pier Park North next to Dick's Sporting Goods.
Quick question for you, though. On that, I know you service a lot of the high school athletes in our area and all.
Yeah.
What about our more senior
So some of our best products are for mom and dad. I mean, our vitamins are great for everybody. I mean, not only for an athlete, but for anybody just trying to stay a little bit healthy, build their immune system up. Our greens are great. They taste amazing. I mean, I got some products like Good Morning that help with gut detoxification because some of the foods we're eating now with all the hormones and steroids they put in them really could jack your stomach up. But our Good Morning products, one of our best-selling products, and that's got an apple cider vinegar, lemon juice, glutamine, everything you need just to detoxify your gut, take that acidicness out. We have the BPC TB500 peptides. As you're getting older, you get a little arthritis, getting pains in your hands, maybe your knees, maybe your feet, or even elbows.
That's one of mine and Coach Manley's favorites.
Yeah.
That's on her. And the liquid does not taste bad.
No, it's good.
It's actually.
And I've had several people tell me about
it's not bad.
Your program for helping reduce some cholesterol and some other stuff like that and some of the joint health.
Yeah, the fish oil. I know a lot of people get on cholesterol medicine, but that's just masking a bigger problem, which is more diet. And we can help you change that diet, but give you the supplements you need to kind of help you get your cholesterol and your blood pressure within range. Fish oil is great. I mean, that's one of the most important things to implement in the diet. That with a multivitamin, some L-carnitine, and just getting a healthy protein and getting enough protein and throughout the day can really help you get on the path to feeling better and looking better overall.
Well, Jimbo, I know you've been a little quiet over here. It's like we've kind of
what's up
hogged the show.
Just listening to the spiel.
Give us some of your thoughts about what we kind of went over today and some of the things that's been going on in the show.
Give us some thoughts on Coach Hale, where he's at.
There's no telling where Coach Hale is.
You think he's listening?
In a
I saw
word,
a picture
no.
of him yesterday. Him and Julie standing next to Elvis in Memphis.
I thought
again
when Julie posted it, there was pictures of him like Pigeon Forge, but then Wildcat tells me that he was also in Memphis, which is like opposite ends of the spectrum.
Right.
And that's about as far away as you can get.
Yeah, he went to Graceland.
He's at Graceland.
Well, he must have the Hell.
He's
corporate jet,
right?
Flying in from
the ESPN
There's
corporate
no telling.
jet. Yeah,
as much money as he saves from not buying lunch, he probably could, own a jet.
He does squeak when he walks, but I'm just saying.
Yeah, I've learned when I go into Jay Michaels, don't go at 12.
No.
Go at like 12:30, 12:45. He's
like,
normally
hey,
already been eating.
Come here,
done.
come say hey, and then he'll push the bill to you.
He'll get up and say, I have to use the restroom.
Yeah.
You never see him again.
Yeah, speaking of Jay Michaels, they got one of the best fish sandwiches around. Go down there and check it out. It's the Triple Tail Fish Sandwich. It's on their special pretty much every day of the week. It is unbelievable. So college football or college sports. I saw this the other day, and we talked a little bit with Spiegel about basketball, but I saw something that was kind of interesting. The number of teams in college basketball coming up for this next season that will have NIL payments of over $10 million. College basketball. There was over 10 teams.
Wow.
At over $10 million.
So
basketball or football, you said?
That's basketball.
I think there was 15 scholarships. If you average that out, that's about $800,000 per player.
But you look at like Maryland. Maryland's coach left, goes to another school. Half the team leaves.
Yeah.
One of their best players, he declared for the draft. He's going to go to the draft. You had, James Madison, I think it was this year. His coach leaves, and almost the entire team is going to follow him.
Indiana did that. I think
it's almost interesting now as
Baylor
we talk
lost
about
their whole team, their entire team. Baylor did.
Well, we talk about transfer portal and NIL money.
Is that transfer money, or is that this is a good coach? Coach Pitino, Coach Calipari, when they leave, some of the players go with them. Is that money? Or is it because they like the coach's style and they think that, Calipari, he's got NBA connections, so I know what to follow him.
As you mentioned Calipari, I thought one of the most interesting and surprising transfer portals this week was Boogie Fland, their star guard. And he was injured a lot of the year last year. He got well, and he played in the NCAA tournament and the SEC tournament and made a huge difference. But he's in the transfer portal. So,
I think there's a number of reasons for guys get in. I mean, agents getting guys' ears. I mean, we've seen the Nico situation where that wasn't the brightest thing in the world to do. But, you got guys pushing you to get in because agents make a percentage off what these guys make. So if they can make more money, they get more money. So just by nature, you're going to have these kids jumping in the portal just to see what their market value is, especially after a good year or so. But when a coach leaves, you're definitely going to enter the portal. I mean, you can go back to the school if you want, but you want to have your options becomes open, and the only way to be able to talk to other schools, to go on recruiting visits, is to enter the portal. So it's not always about money, but I would say 95%.
That was one of the things that, I didn't want to get into too depth with Spiegel, but the Chad Baker Mazzara, when he entered the portal, my personal opinion was he had to, because they were such a senior-laden team. Yes, he can stay, but are they going to be a shell of what they were? Well, who's coming in? Where is he going to fit with everybody that's coming in? If he doesn't enter the portal, then he doesn't have any options but to stay there or go to the NBA.
Right.
So some of these things, when I look now, when kids enter the portal, it's not they're unhappy, they want to transfer. Sometimes it might be, hey, I've got to enter the portal because they're bringing in 6 guys at my position, whether it be football or something else. I started last year, but I don't know what the vision is. Let me enter the portal and then talk to the coaches.
But you also get those guys, and Chad Baker might be one of these guys that say, okay, Janai Brew made, 1.5 last year. This guy made 1.2. Now they're gone. Now I want to make 2.5 because now they got this NIL money freed up, and I think I'm the best player on the team now, so I want to get that bump. And they're looking at him like, you know what, we got 4 roster spots to fill. That's a lot of NIL money. So a lot of it is just economics and trying to fit a pay structure in to get your roster. And some guys just have to be cut, or they want to move on because they're looking for a payday that's just not feasible for a team.
I want to
ask a lot with Ohio State. There's these big time players transfer sometimes that they just can't go after because they're not going to pay. Like a David Stone, the freshman from Oklahoma that entered the defensive tackle. They're not going to pay him $4 million when they're paying Jeremiah Smith 2.5. I mean, that blows your whole roster up and blows your whole entire locker room up. So there's a lot of things behind the scenes. There's a lot of, balancing act that goes on within these programs that some people don't understand. I do think Chad Baker Mazzara wanted more money, and I just don't think within their pay structure. And they brought a lot of guys in. I think Auburn's going to be fine. To me, I'm going to be invested in a coach. I believe Bruce Pearl's building one of the best programs in the country. To me, I'd want to play for him, even if I made a little bit less, because I think he's going to get me to the next level. Yeah,
they brought a kid in. I think his name's Bashir or something like that.
They brought 2 kids in that are really good. That is
the same position as Mazzara that are really good. Yeah. And it's kind of, you're looking at it going, So I understand some of it. Would you have, Kat?
No, maybe when we come back we should answer this question, but I'm sure you guys are familiar with the HBO series Hard Knocks.
Yeah.
Where they say, okay, do the college players come in there, at the beginning of the season at training camp like the NFL players do? They come in, they say, hey, my name is so-and-so. I just signed for $300,000 or $100,000 or $250,000. Do they do that in college locker rooms? Anybody know? Yes or no?
I'm sure some of the players will flex what their NIL deal is.
Yeah.
But I think that's probably going to go to coaches.
Yeah.
Is to, hey, you don't talk about what we're giving you on NIL.
I think that'd be the best way to go.
It wouldn't be surprising to me that there's players that were told not to talk about it, and they did, and then they don't get to play, and they're at another school the next year.
Yeah, that's another fine line there, because we were talking about a balancing act. You don't want to, make guys mad. You want all guys bought in. Offensive linemen, especially when they're not, maybe starting, aren't going to get as much as your prima donna wide receivers, the cornerbacks, the quarterbacks. Those are guys that are going to make money. Those are going to be the guys that are face to your program. But it's definitely a balancing act. It's a lot of, who do we pay? How much can we pay him? Do we make this guy mad? Do we bring a guy in through the portal? Do we lose the starter here? Do we lose our depth piece here? So it just needs to be structured. We've talked about this every single day for probably the last year. There's got to be some guidelines on NIL and transfer portal, or a lot of people are going to lose interest in college football.
Hey, you're listening to 104.3 ESPN Radio. It is getting hot. Make sure your air conditioners are out there working properly. Call Steverson Air Conditioner. They can get out there and take care of you in a quick manner. Or if you need a new unit, he'll walk you through the whole system. Again, ESPN Radio. We'll be right back.
A 2-run home run.
The Atlanta Braves are back.
Here comes the throw. It's late. Braves win.
And ESPN Northwest Florida is your exclusive radio home for Braves country.
He just wrecked that thing. Straightaway center, a homer for Riley.
Sales Strider, Acuna, Ozzie, Riley, Profar, and Coach Snitker lead a stellar lineup. Listen live nights and weekends on ESPN Northwest Florida.
Good morning. This is Joanna with your weather forecast from ESPN Northwest Florida on this Friday. Mostly sunny this afternoon and evening with a wind around 10 miles per hour out of the south and the high of 80. Tonight, look for a mixture of slight fog and partly cloudy skies with a temperature near 69. Tomorrow, high around 81 and slight fog in the morning, but otherwise mostly sunshine. This weather forecast is brought to you by Earthworks of Northwest Florida. Thank you for tuning into ESPN Northwest Florida. Rely on it.
With over 65 years of combined experience, Instant Replay Sports Cards is happy to help you take your collection to the next level. They carry all the new hobby boxes, signed memorabilia, and supplies. New and vintage cards and Pokemon. They sell and trade cards and are always looking to buy. They're an authorized source for Topps, Panini, Upper Deck, and Leaf cards. Instant Replay Sports Cards is open 7 days a week at 752 West 23rd Street, down from Academy Sports. It can always be reached at InstantReplaySportsCards.com.
Come experience the weird and wonderful world of El Weirdo, a brewery and taco pub in downtown Panama City on Oak Avenue. El Weirdo is serving up delicious street tacos, magical wizard fries, locally brewed beer, margaritas, and more, all surrounded by art, oddities, and all things weird. It's a feast for your eyes and your mouth. Visit El Weirdo in historic downtown Panama City today.
El Weirdo, 24 West Oak Avenue, and online at elweirdodowntown.com.
And here we go. The #1 SEC call-in show is now twice as big. The Paul Feinbaum Show. Weekday evening 6 to 10. Now back to the Coach James Hale Show on 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida.
Welcome back to ESPN Radio 104.3 on your dial. Sitting here with Jason Kovaleski and Mr. Jimbo. We've had interesting discussions this morning, NIL, college football, basketball, a little bit of baseball on the high school level. It's Friday. Next week is the 1st of May. Can y'all believe that?
No.
It's already here. Thank goodness tax season is gone for most everybody, but they did extend to the 1st, so some people still haven't paid.
It's not quite over, but we'll get it in time.
I know for folks like Jason and myself, it never ends.
I was holding out they're going to abolish the IRS. So I got as many extensions as I could. I was holding out, man.
My son was asking me one day, he's like, so what is tax season? And I said, that's just the big day you pay taxes. The rest of the year is tax season.
It's hell on earth.
You got to figure all that out.
It's stressful.
Pay it up.
You can make a mistake, honestly, and still get in trouble for some reason. I don't know.
I want to give a shout out to ESPN Radio. Back during the basketball season, they got me 2 tickets to the Auburn Ole Miss game.
Oh, wow.
At Neville. Took my son up there. Fabulous experience.
Really?
Bar none. He kind of became a pseudo Auburn basketball fan because of it. But one of the things that we watched, I talked with Randy about this the other day. Before the game was the interaction of how they acted and things that they were doing.
Yeah.
The jovialness, they did prayers on the court as a team, an individual and stuff. They had a little symbol that was like a telephone thing, and that message was "Call God."
Oh, wow.
It was something that Bruce Pearl did, and the more I researched it, the more I understood and was able to explain to my son about it. That "Call God" was actual, not just a gimmick of, hey, but, Dylan Cardwell talked about it.
Yeah.
Janai Broom, how he actually had them express his faith in their face and all that. So it was not a you need to call God for help. It was, hey, you need to call God.
Right. You need to stay in touch.
And so it was really cool,
It's
that type of message at a college level, and to actually see that.
Right.
Because they're trying to do away with, prayer and things like that. And
and the most interesting thing,
college, it's good to see somebody still supporting that.
The most interesting thing was the diversity on that particular team, and I know more about it because I actually went and researched it. But Bruce Pearl's Jewish. You had Jewish, you had a Muslims, some Christians on there, different religions all together supporting each other and helping each other.
You know what's great about sports, though? I mean, you come from any background, color, race, religion, but when you're in that locker room and you're practicing and working your tail off together, you become brothers. I mean, it doesn't matter where you're from, your background, rich, poor. I mean, some of my best friends I've learned and met through sports, and it was my entire life. We'll be friends forever. And when you're in a locker room like that and you're fighting and you're trying to win, you got a common goal, it's just inevitable. You're going to become brothers with those people. And it doesn't matter if they're Muslim or Christian or, Catholic or Jewish. And that's what I love about sports. And it's brought so many people together. I just wish they would put some guidelines on NIL before they destroy my favorite one.
Yeah, the guidelines, there needs to be something done. Nobody has a cure. The easiest way to do it is no more transfers.
Yeah, but I will say this. We experienced that with Ohio State. You saw that. They baptized over, 1,000 people up there. The football team did. I mean, they carried their faith through that entire playoff run. After the Michigan game, a lot of hate from the fans. And, we have a lot of fans, so we have some bad apples in there. So, nothing to be proud of at all. But, they took a lot of heat, but that faith carried them through. And it was not artificial. If you look at that team, every single.
Not fake.
No, and if you look at that team, every interview after every win, those guys were brothers, and they talked about their faith and how that changed all of them. So,
and there's a lot of schools and coaches that exhibit that.
For sure, yeah.
And I'm just highlighting because I was there. I got to see it in person.
Right, no, yeah.
I mean, I watched what.
But I think that's making a comeback, and I think it's great for everybody. I mean, I think some of the problems we've had is take God out of schools, can't discipline kids, all this stuff that we knew was going to kind of degenerate society a little bit. Look what's happening. I mean, you get just no accountability. Some of these youth kids just, it's become chaos. We see it with the spring break stuff. So bringing God back into schools, bringing God back into sports is never a bad thing.
No. All right, before we run out of time...
you've got something special you want to talk about, don't you?
Yeah, so Turf Pro Pest Control, I own the company. We're doing a special fundraiser that's going to benefit local cheerleading. We're going to be giving away 2 tickets to the Florida State Alabama football game on August 30th.
Nice.
To register for that and find out all the information, you're going to need to go to turfpropc.com. When you go on there, there is a football button on the main screen. You'll click on that. You can fill out the information. We're going to draw the winners live on the radio, more than likely August 18th.
Wow.
About 2 weeks before the game. We've got some information we got to get from you when we do that. There's other stuff we're going to be announcing with this in the next coming weeks that we're still working on to put together. But this is going to benefit 100% the cheerleaders.
But you said this was a raffle, though, right?
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah, and you'll go on that with the raffle. Each ticket is $25 per raffle ticket.
So you could possibly get 2 tickets for $25.
Correct.
Nice.
Yeah, and we've got a local company that is going
ESPN employees
donate some fuel.
Okay.
We'll be announcing that, like I said, and then there's some other stuff.
You were just talking earlier about, how the cheerleaders and the band for that matter, but the cheerleaders specifically have been kind of forgotten in this whole, hey, we need money to travel thing.
Well, and that's one of the reasons I wanted to do something.
That's a competitive sport, too, man. I mean, people don't realize. It's not pom-poms on the sidelines just root for your football team. These girls are gymnastics and all kinds of tumbling. And
on TV, and you'll see.
I just remember when I coached that Bay High basketball, these girls would come up with knee braces, torn meniscus, and they would still be out there. And I have a guy over here with a sprained pinky toe. Like, I can't practice today. And I'm look at this girl over here with a knee brace on a torn ACL just doing it. They're tough. They're really exciting to watch, too.
And it's... Everybody loves the cheerleaders.
Right.
Always. It doesn't matter if it's a high school game, a college game. If you have a little girl, that's who your little girl's going to see. She ain't going to see the football
players. I married
one. Now he's just bragging.
Right.
But it's interesting because cheerleading, and I only know more about it now because of my daughter.
Right.
But it's not a seasonal sport. It is... basically year-round. They finish their competition season middle of February. By March, they're already back practicing for the next year.
Do they have travel teams kind of like baseball does? Where they have
There is some programs that do have travel teams
Right, okay.
at some of the facilities, but it's not at the schools.
Right, okay.
It's individual private facilities and
Right.
stuff like that. But, yeah, I mean, real quick, because I know he's out of time, but we got 30 seconds. The national cheerleading competition starts with 1 million teams.
But go to
in the country.
Go to TurfPest.
Yeah, go to turfpropc.com. That's where the information is. You can look us up on Facebook, and there's a link over there also.
Buy a $25 raffle ticket. You may get to the Alabama-Florida State
That's
game.
it. Somebody's going.
Y'all have a happy Friday.
ESPN Northwest Florida. It's the Coach James Hale Show.
If you play football long enough, you are going to get hurt.
He has pardoned